What certain bodies? What the gym? Or what the gym Ezra Bridger for this live stream. And Joe with Jacob Martin, aka Jacob Jarrus. He's been Kanan Jarrus.
How you doing, Adam?
I'm doing good. Looking forward to doing this. I watched all the Star Wars Rebels episodes this year. I haven't seen any of them before.
Yeah, I watched. I think I watched a little bit of Star Wars Rebels when it first premiered. It kind of stalled out when it first premiered. I think I watched a little bit. I think seasons one, season two, and then I kind of lost interest in the show. And then several years after that, after Disney Plus was launched, after I went through Star Wars: The Clone Wars for the first time, I decided to give Rebels another shot, and I actually did finish the whole series. And I think it's a pretty good show. Uh, I think the Clone Wars is a stronger show, but I do like the characters in Rebels, and there's still some great moments in it.
I've still not got to Clone Wars yet, but there's 7 seasons for that. So I've got a lot of catch up work for that.
Mm. Oh man, the Clone Wars is an amazing show.
Yeah, but I thought Star Wars Rebels was a really great series. Like, I enjoyed watching all of the 4 seasons. So we'll start off with before we talk about the main characters of the show. Do you have any just brief overall thoughts of the Star Wars Rebel series?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think it's cool that Dave Filoni got to work on another animated show after how well the Clone Wars turned out. Uh, I like the idea of focusing on a different group of rebels set before the original trilogy. And in the course of the 4 seasons, I came to really like the crew of the Ghost. There's some fun characters uh, I've come to really like in the show, and I love that years later, Dave Filoni brought these characters back and continued their story through the Ahsoka series, which is one of the best Star Wars shows. So I'm glad that Rebels walked so Ahsoka could run. Uh, there's some great villains on this show. I love Grand Admiral Thrawn especially. There was a couple episodes that honestly shocked me when first saw the episodes, and usually the ones that shocked me, they were the ones that made my top five. So we'll get to that when we share the episode ranking. The animation's pretty good. I don't think this. I don't think the show itself has that same staying power to me compared to like the Clone Wars. The Clone Wars, I think, is a stronger show that I think has a lot more staying power. But Rebels still has some good moments in it. I don't think it's my favorite show that that Disney has done in Star Wars, but I still like what they were able to pull off with it.
Yeah, I agree. It's actually made me want to rewatch the Ahsoka series because I watched Ahsoka before watching Star Wars Rebels. I should probably go back to it at some point.
Yeah,
But yeah, I
yeah.
think
You're probably like, who is this Ezra guy that they're trying to look for?
I knew who the characters were, but yeah, I did need to look up a few things when I watched it. But yeah, I think Rebels is great, filled with great characters and moments. Yeah, great visuals and music as well. Yeah, I think it's just a really great series to watch. I definitely revisit quite a few of the episodes on Disney Plus.
Great stuff.
Yeah, so we'll talk about some of the main characters of the series, but first looks like we've got Mike here. Hello, Mike.
Mike,
I don't think Mike's seen any Star Wars Rebels.
mm, uh, I've noticed Mike's starting to review all the Star Wars movies. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I wonder if we'll get to the animated.
Yeah, that'd be
But yeah,
cool. Yeah, I would say start with the Clone Wars first. That's my
I did Rebels first because it's not got as many seasons
yeah,
to get through.
yeah. But Clone Wars is a better place to start because Clone Wars introduces characters that would later be in Rebels, like Ahsoka and Captain Rex.
Hmm. But yeah, we'll talk about some of the main characters of Rebels. We'll start off with the hero side of things first. So of course the main rebel that we spend time with is of course Ezra Bridger, voiced by Taylor Gray. And in my opinion, he's my favorite character in Rebels.
Yeah, I like the character. I think he has a pretty good arc. Starts off as this kid, and the Empire occupied the fall. Doesn't know what to do for himself, and then he ends up being trained to become a Jedi and joins the crew of the Ghost. And he goes from this scrawny, insecure kid to somebody who becomes like the big sacrificial hero at the end of it.
Yeah,
He does have a pretty good journey throughout the 4 seasons.
and I like that they don't rush it either.
Yeah,
They really take their time to
yeah,
get
and
to
you
that
can
point.
tell the show has you have a passage of time throughout the 4 seasons because you see a growth spurt in Ezra. I think in between seasons 2 and 3, if I remember
Yeah, I think
correctly.
that's where it is.
Yeah,
He's got a different haircut as well.
yeah,
But yeah, he's my favorite character of Rebels,
yeah.
and of course his Jedi teacher is Kanan Jarrus, voiced by Freddie Prinze Jr.
I always forget that's Freddie Prinze Jr. because every time I think of that name, I remember, when I was a kid when he played Fred in the live action Scooby Doo movie from
Yeah,
2002.
yeah,
So it's crazy he's voicing a Jedi, but yeah, Kanan's a really cool character. He's definitely one that doesn't. I think he's one of the more unconventional Jedi's, which that's what I like about him because he doesn't always play by the rules. He's kind of on his own
hmm
in training Ezra, but he's still pretty neat. I actually thought the character was more compelling after after he got blind midway
I
through
think
the series.
he had more to do once that happened.
Yeah, because he starts to tap into more on you know the untapped potential of the Force, and there's some great moments with him after that.
Yeah, but another member of the rebels is of course Kanan's wife, Harris and Sandilla, voiced by Vanessa Marshall.
Yeah, very likable character. Uh,
Well, I think she's his wife or partner anyway.
yeah. See, when I was watching the show, I didn't realize that the characters were married. I think they had like an on and off fling, but they do have a child together. Like as we find
Yeah,
out at the end of the series, and we see the child in Ahsoka as well. But I don't remember if they were ever married or not. But yeah, I do like the Hera character. Like I said, very likable character. Like the pilot of the Ghost.
yeah, I think she's a really good character. Definitely one of my favorite characters of Rebels. She's sort of like the mother figure to Ezra.
Yeah,
I quite like those two together. And she's definitely a character you wouldn't want to mess with either.
yeah, yeah. Of course, I liked it when she was played by Mary Elizabeth Winstead in the Ahsoka series. I thought
Yeah,
that was
I
a
thought
good transition from animation to live action.
yeah. I think they both did great at playing that character. And then of course you've got the character Sabine Wren, voiced by Tia Sircar. I think that's how you pronounce it.
I think of the Rebels, Sabine is my favorite character. I thought she was an awesome character. Uh, I think before I watched Rebels, I wasn't too familiar with the whole concept of the Mandalorian because when I first tried to watch it, I didn't watch Clone Wars until Disney Plus was a thing, and so I didn't realize there were other Mandalorians besides Boba Fett,
Hmm.
and so not only do you have another Mandalorian, but female Mandalorian. I'm like, okay, I'm not used to seeing this in Star Wars, and I enjoyed the character very well. She definitely I like the spunkiness of her character.
Hmm.
She had some of the more memorable moments on the show. Uh, then watching the show after seeing Clone Wars and how it connects with the history of the Mandalorians and Mandalore. Some of the best stuff in the later seasons involve her character and the conflict on Mandalore and the dark saber, and I'm like all this rich history, which also pays off very well in the Mandalorian series. It's like, yeah, seeing that stuff unfold was what got me into a bigger fan of that side of the world building of Star Wars.
Hmm. Yeah, I think she's a really cool character, and I like that we get to visit her family a couple of times in the series later
Mhm.
in the series. I really like her in Ahsoka as well.
Oh, me too. The actress they got to play her in the Ahsoka series did an amazing job at
Yeah,
replicating what the character was in the Rebel series.
but I always thought the outfit she wore was really cool.
Oh yeah, uh, I love her. I love the design of that.
But we'll now talk about the funniest character of the series. That's of course Zeb,
Oh, I love
by
Zeb.
Steve Blum. Yeah, he definitely has some of the more comedic moments in the
Yeah,
series.
yeah. I think you have to have at least a comic relief character
Yeah.
in Star Wars to add levity, especially to some of the darker elements of Star Wars. Because even in the main movies, you got the droids R2D2, 3PO that add some fun levity in all the movies. And I guess in this case, you got Zeb, who has some hilarious one-liners. I love the quips that he makes with all the characters, and yeah, he even grows as well, but he still retains what I loved about Zeb in the early seasons.
Hmm.
Yeah, great character.
And we of course saw him once briefly. I think was it in Ahsoka?
He he cameos in an episode, I think, in season 3 of The Mandalorian,
Oh, it's Mandalorian.
and
Yeah,
I
I
think
thought
I read he's actually going to
live
be
action
in
more.
the upcoming Mandalorian and Grogu movie that's coming out. I think in 2026.
Cool. Yeah, yeah. I think he's a really entertaining character. I really like him with Agent Callus as well.
Oh
I
yeah,
think these two are quite fun together. But I also think it's quite fun with this next character. That's of course Copper.
oh yeah. Star Wars has had its fair share of awesome droid characters, and
The
Chopper is
special
no
exception.
exception. I would
Yeah.
say he is the naughtier cousin of R2D2 because he doesn't. He's very rude and immature, but still has a heart of gold.
Yeah. So now we're talking about the villain. So the things there really one villain character I want to talk about. And that's of course Grand Admiral Thrawn. Who who voices him again? I can't remember.
It is. Oh man, I know it's Mads Mikkelsen's brother, Lars Mikkelsen.
But
Yeah,
yeah, he's a very menacing villain. But I think he looks really cool as well.
yeah.
Uh,
I love the fact that not only did he play the character in Rebels, but he played him again in Ahsoka.
yeah, and I really
Yeah.
like the way I find the way he speaks quite interesting. he talks quite softly and quite well spoken, but sometimes he can be quite loud and scary.
Yeah. See, the thing that I think is cool about Thrawn is I think he's one of the scariest characters in all of Star Wars. Not because he's a Sith, but the reason he's intimidating is because of his bronze. The fact that he can, because of how much of a strategist he is, he can outsmart everybody else in the room, and he's always 10 steps ahead of everybody. And
Yeah,
even when the rebels think they've outsmarted Thrawn, he's like, I knew what you were doing. Surprise!
yeah, it's very interesting, intriguing character.
Oh, yeah.
You never know what his next plan is.
Yeah. There's a couple of other villains, like before Thrawn in the early seasons, there was the Grand Inquisitor.
Yeah, I found him pretty cool.
Yeah, who was voiced by, if I remember correctly, he was voiced by Jason Isaacs, who also played Lucius Malfoy in the Harry Potter movies.
But I love his lightsaber. It's
Yeah,
really cool. But yeah, think that's enough about the characters now. Do you have any other characters you want to mention?
I mean, shout out to Ahsoka Tano, who had some great appearances in the
Yeah, it's cool.
show.
I think
Uh,
didn't C-3PO appear a couple
yeah,
times.
the 3PO appeared in one episode, I think. Leia appeared in one episode.
Yeah, it was cool to see her.
Um, Yoda appeared in an episode. Uh, Obi-Wan Kenobi, uh,
Lando Calrissian.
Lando, I remember him being in
Yeah.
there. Um, Captain Rex
Hmm.
and the clones uh, join along throughout the series. Uh,
Yeah,
Darth Maul is in the series.
yeah. I'll be
Uh,
talking a bit about him later.
Dar- Darth Vader is even in the series. I think James Earl Jones even reprised his role in that.
We got Henry in the chat.
Henry,
Hello, Henry.
have you seen this show, Henry?
Yeah, I'm curious if he's seen it or not.
Yeah, 'cause I know he's a Star Wars guy. We tend to argue a lot on the quality of the Star Wars sequel trilogy. Ah,
That that was the case for me until this year.
it's a good show. It's a good
Yeah,
show.
I recommend it to Star Wars
Yeah,
fans who
yeah.
haven't seen it.
Ahsoka has greater weight if you watch Rebels.
Yeah, but we'll now start with the rankings. So we'll rank the 4 seasons of Rebels. So I'll let you go first with that if you want.
All right. I think my least favorite season is one, and I think what I've noticed between this show and the Clone Wars is usually the first seasons of these animated shows are usually the weakest. They're a little bit more lighthearted in comparison to what I loved about the later seasons of the shows, where they deepen the characters and intensify the stakes, and there's darker material. And I think that's what I respect about the animated shows. Not that season one's bad. I think it had a really good start. The premiere episode is really good. The finale I remember being pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the middle it kind of meanders a little bit. It just goes on like week to week adventures, and some are enjoyable, others are more forgettable.
Yeah.
It's watchable primarily because of I like the characters enough, and I want to see where it goes.
Mm-hmm.
But I think structurally, I think season one is the weakest season compared to the good things that came out of the series as a whole.
Yeah, I think season one it's a pretty great series, but I've got to agree with you. It is the weakest season of Rebels. My favorite episode is episode 15 of that season, which is called Fire Across the Galaxy. But yeah, this is the season that's probably got the most filler episode. Even though I like every single episode of Rebels. But yeah, I was assuming that season one would be your least favorite as well. But I'm curious to know if you both got the same number three.
Mm. All right. Okay, this is where it gets tricky because I actually I like the other seasons very well. I don't know which one I'd put on top of each other. Um, I will say I think the show got significantly better once Thrawn shows up, so he doesn't show up till 3. So I guess number 3 I'll go with season 2. Not that I think season 2 is better than season 1, primarily
Yeah, I
because
agree.
Ahsoka's involved in the season, Darth Vader's involved in the season. There's some cool adventures in there. I think there's still some meandering episodes, occasional ones, but I think 2 overall I think is better structured. And it actually has one of my favorite season finales of
Yeah.
Star Wars. That finale where they're at the Sith Temple and Darth Maul's involved and Darth Vader's involved, and there's some crazy stuff that happens. There was some powerful stuff that happened in that season 2 finale,
Mhm.
which I think elevates it from being higher than season 1.
Yeah, it's actually my number three as well.
Oh
I give
wow!
I give season one 8 out of 10, but I give the other seasons an 8.5 out of 10. I think this has still got some of the problems of the first season, which is why it's my number three, but and not any higher. But yeah, I've got to agree that the finale of the season is definitely the highlight. Yeah, my favorite episode of season two is the last episode, Twilight of the Apprentice, Part Two, Episode 22. So yeah, when I'll move on to number two, I'll be curious to know if we both got the same favorite season or not.
All right, so again, so the show picks up once Thrawn is established. Gotta remember which episodes I prefer, 3 and 4.
Yeah, I found it difficult as
And
well.
it is tricky, also because I haven't seen the show in a few years, so I'm just trying to collectively remember what happens in each season. I am probably going to say I'm just going to put season 3 as number two. Number two. Um, I love the introduction of Thrawn. I
Mhm.
think that's easily the best thing that season 3 has to offer. The other thing is the episode that Obi-Wan's in. I think the episode's called Twin Sons.
Yeah, episode
That
20.
that is one of the best episodes in Rebels.
Definitely the best episode of season three.
Yeah, I love seeing Obi-Wan in this context, and yeah, the Obi-Wan Darth Maul duel, I'll admit, it's anticlimactic, but it does give official closure to that conflict between those two characters, and there's a little bit of poetic stuff about
Yeah.
uh, the way that went down that's still pretty admirable. So I think all around it's still a really strong episode.
Well, funny enough, it's my number two as well.
Oh wow.
In my opinion, Rebels each season got better and better. I didn't think they could top season two, but somehow they managed with season three. And someone managed to even top season three as well. Yeah, I think there's some really fantastic stuff in this season. Of course, it's even better that with Grand Admiral Thrawn being the main threat.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's what we both have season four as our number one.
Yeah, season 4. The primary reason it's number 1 is because when I was trying to remind myself of what was in each season, a lot of the stuff I loved about the show I remember from season 4. So you have some of the episodes dealing with Mandalore, as in season 4. You have Kanan's sacrifice, which that shocked me when I saw that. I was like,
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah,
holy cow, that actually
it was
happened.
very shocking.
I was
Very,
I
very
was
shocking ending.
speechless when I saw that. You have the World Between Worlds episode, which I thought was very powerful, and the finale was really good. The Siege of Lothal, and
Mhm.
how you have Thrawn involved in it. You even have Palpatine thrown in there. Of course, Palpatine's my favorite Star Wars villain in general, so I always enjoy seeing him in Star Wars. I thought it ended in a way to where it was satisfying, but it also left a couple of loose ends. And of course, I love that Ahsoka would later pay that off years later. But I thought season 4 was a great finish. Like
Mhm.
I'd say it started off. If I was just grading Rebels just on the first season, it'd probably get like a 7 out of 10. I'd say the last season would probably be like an 8.5 or a 9 out of 10 for me.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. Yeah, so many awesome things happened in season 4, whether it's the action and the the character arcs as well.
Mm-hmm.
Is there? I'm right. It's going to be a season 5 of Rebels,
Um, I
or is it
haven't
going to be a
heard
live action?
anything about a season 5 of Rebels. I guess the closest thing that we got to one is Ahsoka, because part of that felt like season 5 of Rebels.
Maybe I could just heard that from somewhere. That
Yeah,
there might be a season 5.
I haven't heard anything.
But when I rank our top 5 episodes of Rebels, I found this even harder than ranking the seasons.
Yeah,
Do you have any
yeah,
honorable
it is
mentions?
hard ranking them because, like I said, it's been a while since I've seen the show. Um, my
I'm trying
number.
to think of some honorable mentions before we
Okay,
get started, but
I won't do honorable mentions. That's going to take too long. But I think I can come up with 5 episodes.
well, I'll read some of my honorable mentions. So, Fire Across the Galaxy would be one. Trying to look what else. There's probably the only one that I mentioned for honorable mention. These are my favorite episodes of season 1.
I might be able to come up with honorable mentions after I go through the 5 episodes because I'm sure there's
Yeah.
going to be. But my number 5, it's actually the premiere episode of season 4 called
Ooh,
Heroes of Mandalore. And that's the one where they go to Mandalore and uh, reclaim it from the Empire. That's where we learn more about Sabine's family. Bo Katan is even in that episode, and she becomes
yeah,
a
it's
big
really, really
player
cool.
in the Mandalorian series. So it was great seeing her in this stage in her life. And then there's still conflict with the dark saber. Sabine being unsure whether she's capable enough of being a leader because there's shame with her and her family that needs to be patched up. I just thought there was great conflict in this episode, and I thought this was one of the stronger episodes of the series. One because I
Hmm.
love Sabine Wren.
Yeah, it probably is the best first episode of any Rebel season.
Mm-hmm.
But it did make my top 5, that one. I wonder if I've got any matching ones for a top 5. But my number 5 it is a season 4 episode. It's episode 14, A Fool's Hope. Well, the reason why it's in my top 5 is because I think it's got some of the best action in the whole series. I love that it takes place on on Lithol as well, and I love that the Thor wolves, the wolves are involved in all the fighting as well. Yeah, I think it's a really great episode.
All right. Another one that's up there. This is also in season 4. I'm gonna go
Yeah,
with the world
got
between
votes.
worlds,
Yeah,
mainly because I love that idea of the world between worlds. Uh, that was how Ahsoka got revived. I was wondering because I think when I was first watching Rebels, the Ahsoka series had already been announced. I'm like, didn't they kill off Ahsoka earlier in this series? So I don't know how that's going to work. But then this did a great way of showing how they were able to revive Ahsoka, do it in this cool way, and the world building of this world that's kind of in between everything, that's not really dictated by time. Uh, I thought was a neat addition to Star Wars, and this and
mhm.
Ahsoka are the only series that really has tapped into that concept.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think it'd be cool if they delved into that a bit more.
yeah, maybe.
But when number four is the season three finale, so episode 22 of that season, and it's 0 hour part two. I think this has got just like my number five, got some of the best action of the whole series. But what I really love about it is what they do with Agent Callus. So at first he can't stand the rebels. He wants to do what he can to destroy them. But in this episode, he's actually working for the rebels, and in the end, actually becomes one. I
Yeah,
never
that's a
expected
character,
that.
that tends to get a little overlooked, but he has a really good arc. The episode's not going to be in my top five. It's the one I'm remembering. There's an honorable mention. I think it's in season two where Zeb and Callus get stranded on an ice planet,
Oh, yeah, I like
and
that episode.
they learn more about each other during this time where they're forced to team up together to survive, and that was kind of like the turning point for Callus. Cause he's someone who was blindly loyal to the Empire, but after his respect for Zeb, he slowly turns into the Rebel Alliance.
Mm-hmm. Uh, uh, he let them, he let Zeb go as well. He didn't report him to the Empire.
Yeah, yeah, that's a.
So, so I'll get to my number three,
Oh, that
which is
wasn't my number three. That was just an honorable mention.
I'll say I'll get. All right, I'll
Uh,
go through my number
yeah,
three.
number three. Uh, I'm gonna go with Twin Sons from season three. I talked about that one earlier. The big one with Darth Maul. Kind of like the payoff with that and Obi-Wan. It's cool we get to see Obi-Wan in Rebels. Uh, there's some great suspense in that episode, and I love the poetic nature of it all. I think is very well done.
That's also my number three.
Nice.
Season three, episode 20, Twin Sons. It it would be higher, but it's not a really. It's not a lot of rebel stuff that really happens in it. It's more of a just Obi Wan and Darth Maul episode in Star Wars than the Rebels one. But yeah, I think it's a fantastic episode. I don't mind I didn't really think it was anticlimactic towards the end. I can see why people would think that, but I never really thought that. So I'll top two.
All right, number two from season two, the finale, Twilight of the Apprentice. Uh, Mainly because of the world building, because of the Sith Temple. They're trying to examine the Sith holocron that's involved in that. And then Darth Maul is brought into the action. And then there's a part where he's manipulating Ezra. And then there's this cool fight with Darth Maul and Kanan. And that's where he becomes blind. The main reason I love this episode so much is Ahsoka starting to like throughout season two, she's in denial that her former master is Darth Vader, And this is where she finally accepts that
She finds
and
out.
has to come to the bitter truth about that, and has to confront her former master, who's now evil. And that heads-on confrontation, I thought, was very powerful, and that's like the main reason it's high on my episode ranking.
But there's a lot that happens in that episode. It's quite a lot to take in at times.
Yeah,
I feel that it just suddenly ends. It just ends when you're wanting a bit more, which is why it's not my number one.
yeah.
It's my number two as well.
Oh wow.
I think the episode was, if it was just a little bit longer, maybe another 5 minutes, it might have been number one. I feel like they're trying to cram too much in that runtime. I think it could have been a half an hour episode. So I'm curious if we both got the same number one.
Well, I think I'm going to cheat on my number one. I'm actually going to combine the last two episodes as my number one.
Well, my number one was just the last episode.
A Fool's Hope, and then Family
Yeah.
Reunion and Farewell, because the beginning of the siege is in the episode prior to the finale, so they kind of interlap with one another. I thought it was a very epic finale, seeing everyone involved in this siege. You, you mentioned those wolves, which those are some cool stuff. There's some great aerial action in it. And then you have, on the villain side, you got Thrawn. That's a big part of the conflict. And then even Palpatine shows up, tries to manipulate Ezra into turning dark. But then the sacrifice at the end, I thought, was very rewarding. It led to some unanswered questions, and it's great to see that pay off, like I said, years later in the Ahsoka series. I thought it was a really strong finale.
I agree. It's my number one. The season finale, family reunion, and farewell. I could have had both of them as number one, but I decided to do them as two separate things for the top five. But yeah, I think it's a fantastic finale. I don't think they could have done it much better. All the characters had the time to shine, and I thought the action was brilliant. Ezra did the heroic sacrifice at the end. I love how that ties in to the Ahsoka series. And that's one of the reasons why I want to rewatch Ahsoka is because of the finale of Rebels.
Yeah, there's one shot at the end of Rebels that's recreated in Ahsoka where Sabine is looking at the mural of Ezra and then turns around and sees Ahsoka like, "You ready?"
Yeah.
That was taken from Rebels.
But yeah, it's got they both have very similar list of top five episodes. And yeah, I enjoyed doing this live stream talking about Rebels with you. It's been fun watching all the episodes this year. Have you also seen the Rebels short as well?
The Rebels shorts.
I think there's like 6.
I don't think I watched any of the shorts. I just watched the series.
It was all after the third season of Rebels.
Okay, I don't think I watched any of the shorts.
To be honest, I don't remember much about them. They were just okay.
They're just kind of throwaway, it sounds like.
Yeah. You.
Okay. First you were, I was talking.
Yeah. We'll probably be concluding this soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, all over.
There we go.
Behave.
There we go. Yep. So, do you have any final thoughts of Rebels?
I mean, it's a good show. I recommend. I think Clone Wars is better, but this is still a good one to check out.
Yeah. And yeah, if I do watch any all the Clone Wars episodes, I'd like to do a live stream like this for that. Definitely. But have you seen the Bad Batch?
I've seen a little bit of the Bad Batch.
I've not seen any of them.
It's that show's kind of hit and miss for me.
But I saw Tales of the Jedi and Tales of the Empire. I thought they were quite good.
Okay.
And of course, Lego Star Wars, Rebuild
Yeah,
the Galaxy.
yeah.
I thought
I
that
actually
was
just
great.
watched Lego Star Wars Rebuild the Galaxy just
I was
the other
pleasantly
night.
surprised with it.
It's hilarious.
I thought the animation in it was fantastic as well.
Yeah.
It was
I
Lego
kinda wish-
Movie.
You could have combined those 4 episodes and made that the Lego Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
I thought it was that good.
I want to rewatch that at some point. But I thought it was done really well. I was a
Yeah.
bit disappointed with the ending at first, but I've come around to it now.
I can see that because it does kind of throw you in for a curveball about a big reveal about, let's just say, the galaxy in general. But I still enjoyed it for what it was.
It was a good spoof on Star Wars.
Pretty much, I like the Lego tends to poke fun of different things, so I don't think this is meant to be Star Wars canon or anything.
No. But yes, I thought that was a great series.
Yeah, it was really good.
But if people watching this haven't seen that. But do you have any final words before I conclude this?
Yeah, enjoy your Star Wars. Quit yapping about different stuff and enjoy it for what it is.
And may the force be with you all.
That too.
Yeah. Until next time, peace out and ciao. Goodbye.